Avengers Endgame. In the opening, Clint Barton is showing his girl toxophilism on his confined homestead while his significant other readies an outing lunch for them. Out of nowhere, Clint's girl evaporates and the remainder of Clint's family deteriorates, alongside half of all life across the universe, the consequence of Thanos snapping his fingers subsequent to getting every one of the 6 endlessness stones. Cloud and Tony Distinct are abandoned in space following their loss by Thanos on Titan, however are gotten back to Earth via Song Danvers and rejoined with Natasha Romanoff, Bruce Flagg, Steve Rogers, Rocket, Thor, and James Rhodes. The group figures out how to take the Boundlessness stones back from Thanos and use them to switch his activities, yet learn after finding him that he had utilized the stones a second opportunity to obliterate them, forestalling their further use. He lets the leftover Justice fighters know that he did as such to try not to involve the stones for additional detestable purposes. Rankled, Thor decapitates Thanos, saying it's what he ought to have done in Wakanda. After 5 years, Scott Lang escapes from the quantum domain to find that his girl Cassie is currently a teen and that Trust Van Dyne, alongside half of the populace, has vanished in the snap. Rogers has been driving despondency advising meetings for survivors actually battling with the impacts of the snap, while Romanoff is eagerly overseeing both Earth and the remainder of the universe with the assistance of Rhodes, Danvers, Okoye, Rocket, and Cloud. Lang goes to Romanoff and Rogers, and makes sense of that while 5 years had passed for them, just 5 hours had passed for him in the quantum domain and that time extends much contrastingly there. The three go to Unmistakable, who is right now raising a young person with Pepper Potts, and get a handle on their speculation that the quantum space can be used to travel again into the past and take the Immensity stones before Thanos can assemble them. Particular at first crackpots their suggestion with stress over betting with his family and the amicability he has found, but resulting to reflecting upon the lack of Peter Parker decides to test speculative models that would work with Lang's quantum tunnel, at last finding one that works. With Distinct now ready, the excess Justice fighters set off on a mission to reassemble their group. Bruce Standard has now embraced the mass as a piece of him, and has merged his own cognizance and the masses together into one. Romanoff, in the wake of hearing reports from Rhodes of a professional killer that works with comparable techniques to Barton, passes on to track down him. Barton, consumed with sadness after the deficiency of his family, has been working under the mantle. Ronan, while mercilessly slaughtering criminal cartels and groups all over the planet to attempt to work on the world that is still left. Natasha tracks down him in Japan and after some persuading, he consents to rejoin the group to attempt to bring his family back. Standard and Rocket go to the unassuming community of New Asgard, where Valkyrie and the last overcomers of Asgard have settled. They there find Thor, who has become overpowered by responsibility over neglecting to kill Thanos in Wakanda. Thor has become overweight, his hair and facial hair are congested, and he invests his free energy eating unhealthy food, becoming inebriated, and playing Fortnite with his companions Korg and Meek. Thor hesitantly consents to get back to the Vindicators after some persuading from Rocket and Pennant. Subsequent to testing the quantum time machine on Barton, who affirms that it works, the Justice fighters are brought together with an arrangement. Pennant, Rogers, Lang, and obvious leave to recover the time, Psyche, and Space Stones during the skirmish of New York in 2012. Pennant goes to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where he is educated by the Old One that requiring some investment stone from her timetable would forestall Stephen Odd's future endeavors to prevent Caecilius from obliterating the laws of nature. Notwithstanding, when Standard tells her that Bizarre surrendered the Time Stone energetically to Thanos, she permits Pennant to make them suggest, Weird had planned for a particular succession of occasions to happen for Thanos to be crushed. Flagg likewise guarantees the stones' revisitation of their appropriate courses of events to forestall any evil impacts. Lang and Unmistakable endeavor to take the Space Stone after the Justice fighters seize it from Loki. Lang gives obvious previous self a gentle heart failure by pulling a circuit in his counterfeit heart, while Unmistakable takes the portfolio lodging the Tesseract when no one is looking. Their arrangement is frustrated when Obvious drops the folder case after he is coincidentally hit by the mass. Loki then takes the Space Stone and uses it to get away from Care. Rogers prevails with regards to taking the Psyche Stone from secret Hydra specialists, however finds his previous self, who botches him for a hidden Loki. In the wake of overcoming past Steve, Rogers gets back together with Obvious and Lang, who presently should sort out one more method for getting the space stone without running out of the restricted stockpile of PIM particles that permit them to go through the quantum domain. Lang gets back to the present with the brain stone while Rogers and Unmistakable devise an arrangement to take the space stone from a U.S. armed force establishment during the 1970s, while likewise taking further vials of PIM particles to make the excursion back home. While there, Rogers cites Peggy Carter and Obvious has a significant discussion with his dad Howard. Rocket and Thor travel to Asgard to recover the Truth Stone before Malekith utilizes it against the 9 domains. While in Asgard, Thor is reminded that his mom, Frigga, would bite the dust soon and gets an opportunity experience with her while Rocket takes the ether, the disintegrated form of the Truth Stone, from Jane and Courage. The two revisitation of Earth after Frigga advises Thor and he recovers his sledge Mjolnir, thrilled to find that he is as yet deserving of it. Cloud and Rhodes travel to Morag to take the Power Stone before Peter Plume does. As Rhodes gets back to the present with the Power Stone, Cloud breakdowns and stays on Morag. With two consciousnesses working on Cloud's frameworks, Thanos and Black Throat find the presence of future Cloud and go to capture her. Cloud acknowledges what has occurred and attempts to caution the others, yet is past the point of no return. Thanos examines her recollections and finds the Vindicator's arrangement, and sends the more steadfast past Cloud back to the present as a government operative. Barton and Romanoff travel to Vormir to recover the Spirit Stone, however are clashed when Red Skull, manager of the stone, illuminates them that it must be recovered by forfeiting somebody they love. The two battle about which will make the penance, with Romanoff eventually accepting all negative consequences, while a troubled Barton gets back to Earth with the Spirit Stone. After everybody has gotten back to the present on the planet, Distinct, Rocket, and Standard set off on a mission to create a glove to employ the stones, one developed from the equivalent nanotech of Obvious' most recent Iron Man suit. Standard workers himself to use the glove and bring back everybody that vanished in Thanos' snap, thinking that he can endure both the gamma radiation and the colossal aggravation and injury welcomed on by utilizing the stones. He succeeds, however they are very quickly gone after by Thanos, who has been brought to Earth by the fraud Cloud, annihilating the quantum gateway simultaneously. Thanos decreases the Justice Fighters' base camp to rubble, separating the group and making the glove fall into Barton's insurance. The previous Cloud is killed by her future self as she endeavors to take the limitlessness stones from Barton, while Rogers, Thor, and Obvious stand up to Thanos, who concludes he will rather utilize the boundlessness stones to obliterate the universe and make one in his vision. The three battle Thanos one-on-one, with Rogers affirming Thor's hypothesis that he deserve employing Mjolnir, however are each outclassed by Thanos. Not long after Thanos' military grounds on the planet, T'Challa shows up before Rogers, alongside the Justice Fighters in general and different partners restored by Flag, prior to sending off an attack on Thanos and his military. After an extensive fight during which Unmistakable is brought together with Parker and Plume is brought together with past Gamora, Thanos grapples with various Vindicators for the boundlessness stones. At the point when he's limited by Wanda Maximoff's energy, Thanos orders Glaive to have his boat fire numerous energy impacts, almost crushing the Vindicator's endeavors. Chief Wonder returns, taking out Thanos' boat while battling for control of the glove. Utilizing the nanotech from the new glove, Unmistakable moves the vastness stones from Thanos' hand to his own and utilizes them to transform Thanos and his whole armed force into debris, victoriously expressing, "I'm Iron Man." Parker and Potts console Distinct as he bites the dust from openness to the stone's radiation. Following the fight, the Vindicators hold a memorial service for Obvious, whose imprint I-bend reactor is drifted out on the lake close to his home. Barton and Wanda Maximoff take comfort in the way that Romanoff and Vision, who didn't return in the snap, would be pleased with their triumph over Thanos. Thor makes Valkyrie the sovereign of Asgard and joins the gatekeepers of the universe to track down his actual reason, liberated from the weight of eminence and administration without precedent for his life. Barton gets back to his family and Parker gets back to school, where he is brought together with his closest companion Ned. In the meantime, Rogers is entrusted to go into the past to return the stones and Thor's sledge to their unique courses of events, yet chooses not to get back to the present and to rather carry on with the remainder of his life in the past with Carter. He returns before Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes as an elderly person, and passes his safeguard and the mantle of Commander America onto Wilson. A short flashback shows Rogers and Carter in a normal-looking house, at last sharing the dance they never got to have in their lounge. Really blissful finally.